Hi, welcome to Pearls of Motherhood. I'm your host, Tessie.
And I'm your host, Diana. Today, we're talking about something incredibly important: self care for moms.
Now, we all know that motherhood can be both beautiful and challenging. From the sleepless nights, the constant demands, especially as you have more kids, it just like multiplies. It can feel like you're always just giving, giving, giving. And often at the expense of your own well being. Let's be honest. We're always last. Mothers are always last. But here's the thing: self care isn't selfish. It's actually very good for you. In fact, it's essential for your mental, emotional, and physical health.
So, if you're a mom and you're feeling overwhelmed, burnt out, resentful, angry, or just in need of a little bit of me time, this episode is for you. Let's talk about how to prioritize your own needs without the guilt, how to carve out those moments of self-care, no matter how busy your schedule may be. But first, let's get into Mom Facts and Book Corner. So, Mom Facts. Did you know that newborns can smell their moms? In fact, they recognize the smell of their mother's breast milk from 1 to 2 feet away. So I don't know about you. So I thought it was just because I walk around like a buffalo. So I was trying to sneak out of a room when my daughter was first born, and she would know. Every time I would enter a room, she would like perk up, and I'm like, okay, it's just because I'm too loud. But apparently she could smell me. I had no idea. Have you ever come across anything like that?
I think I've heard that in the distant past, but it does make sense. Like, I swear, every time I would walk into the room or go around my kids as newborns, they're instantly hungry. And it's like, it's probably because they smell the milk and they're like, oh, dinner's here. Like, just because I walk around you doesn't mean you have to like instantly eat.
Well, in the beginning phases, all they think about is eating, and you are the source of food. So, it's funny because when I was in my third trimester, I hugged my sister, and she goes, "You smell like a mom." And I said, "What does that mean?" And she goes, "You just smell like really homey and like comforting." And she goes, "I think, is your milk coming in?" I said, "I guess so." I know at this point, I had no idea whether it had or it will or anything like that. But apparently she kept on insisting that I had a certain smell. And I guess that's what babies are smelling on you.
It must be. And it's actually really, this is kind of a funny story about newborns and eating. But like, is it just me, or is it every time that like somebody in your family, your husband or the in-laws or the grandparents or whoever holding the baby, and like the instant they start to cry, they're like, oh, they're hungry. And they just hand them off to you. And it's like, they just ate 10 minutes ago. They're not hungry. But like everybody just automatically thinks that, oh, the baby's fussy, so here, take it and feed it.
Well, it's the ideal handoff moment, right? That's the exit. That's the great thing about being like the not mom. It's like, oh, here's your exit. Bye.
Oh, they must be hungry. See ya.
Can't help you there, buddy. When it comes to like diaper changes or anything else you can do as the other person, but as the mom, if the mom is nursing, that's it.
Yeah, and of course, whenever the baby fusses, like it's never anything that they can handle. It's always has to be they're hungry. Okay.
I know that I did that a lot because I'm the oldest of the four of us. And so I remember my little sisters when I would have to hold them, and then I'd get tired of it because I was a kid. I wanted to go play. And then she'd start crying. I go, "Oh, Mom, she's hungry." And my mom's like, "No, she just ate. Hold the baby longer. I have stuff to do." I'm like, but I always use it as my out. But that was kid me. Now I am the out. Nuts.
I know. It's like, I just laid down. What are you talking about?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, on to book corners. This week's book is Good Night Construction Site. Have you ever read that book?
No, I
mean,
haven't.
I feel like I have a ton of boy books. Like I don't have any girl books.
You know what? If we're gonna like break it down to boy and girl books, honestly, I do too. My girl, I guess she doesn't see gender stereotypes, which is fantastic. She loves trucks and cars, especially race cars. So if you walk into
she'll
my
love
house,
this book.
Oh yes. So if you walk into my house, it's all like quote unquote boy stuff, but it's really my daughter's. So tell me about this book.
It's just a really cute book. It's a great bedtime story if you're into reading books before bed. Mm-hmm. And because it's all about, and it's rhyming, which is really good for little minds. And it's all about just like going through the construction site, one little equipment at a time, and, talking about what it was doing for the day, what its job was, and then like saying goodnight to it and moving on. It's actually really cute.
That's really cute. I'm going to have to get that.
Yeah, it's a cute book.
I've learned so much about construction vehicles because she's totally into them that for me, everything was a bulldozer. Like, I don't know anything. So everything is a bulldozer, but there's like diggers and excavators and I don't know, so many that I'm learning as I go along. So this is a good one for me too.
There's loaders and cranes and dump trucks. I could go on and on. After 3 boys.
Obviously, my daughter's gonna have a lot to talk about with your sons. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's great. She's gonna get along great with them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm definitely have to check that one out. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into our segment. First, let's start with why self-care is so important for moms. The demands of raising children, a child, all of them, puppies with it too, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, a working mom, or a mom juggling both, it can leave you feeling like there's no time left for yourself. And that can really lead to burnout. So, Tess, what happens if we don't take care of ourselves?
Well, it's like extremely draining, right? Like how a person can't like continually run on basically fumes is what you have left to offer. Mm-hmm. If you're not taking care of yourself and basically filling up your own cup, like you can't, if you don't have anything in your cup, you have nothing to give to the little cups, you have nothing to give. And so it is important that you find something that, and I am not talking about social media. Like, do not go down that route of like considering, oh, I'm relaxing and I'm laying down or I'm resting and I'm like on my phone. I don't know. I don't think that could really be considered self-care because of all of the implications that come along with that.
It's doom scrolling. And we don't advocate doom scrolling. Don't do it.
No. So it's just important because especially as a mom of 4, like my food is constantly being stolen, like literally my literal fuel for my body, my food. I don't even get to eat my own food.
Yep. I know the feeling.
Like in the most literal sense, I call them my vultures. I'm like, oh, I got to hide this from the vultures. They're going to be picking at it here. If they see this, I'm over. I'm not even going to get a bite. So,
I call mine a fox because she's so wily. Like she'll go behind my back and steal it and run away.
That's great. That must be a girl for you. My boys are just like, oh, give me that. They just get in my lap and steal it right off my plate right in front of me.
My daughter says, oh, she'll take my hand. Like I'm sitting down to eat and she'll take my hand and she'll go, Mom, go. And she wants to run. And, we run. And then while I'm running and quote unquote looking for her, she's actually at the dinner table sneaking away my food. I'm like, dude, that was mine. Eat your own.
Yeah, what is that? Like, I make them a whole entire meal, and okay, granted, mine is different,
Hmm.
because I don't want to eat the same. I mean, they eat healthy. Let's just put it that way. I make them eat healthy, and then and then I don't necessarily always want to eat healthy, but anyways, mine also has more flavor. But
Hmm.
it's almost like they figured that out over time. We're like, oh, okay, mom's food tastes better, and so I'm not gonna eat mine.
See, so for me, she has the exact same thing that I have, but she doesn't eat hers. She will eat mine.
Mm-hmm.
Then I go
Yeah.
to eat hers because she ate mine, and then she eats hers too. So I have nothing.
Yeah, I don't that was something I didn't see coming before I was a mom, and it actually used to drive me crazy at first. I'm like, I never get to eat my own food, and I'm starving and this and that. And now you just get used to it over time, just like everything. I'm just like, okay, well, I guess it's keeping me from getting fat, so
Yeah,
here you
right.
go.
But I know for me, if so, eating is a form of self care. For me, I get really anxious. I get super irritated. I get
Hmm.
resentful, and I'm just
Hmm.
exhausted. So I'm totally drained. And it's for me, I'm then not the mom that I want to be, or the mom
Hmm.
I know I can be.
Yeah.
So take
Yeah,
back your food.
even just taking a shower without being interrupted
Yeah.
can be, can be considered. I mean, that's essential though. Like, is it really self care? Probably not. You should probably plan out your self care and be more intentional about it, and actually.
I think self care should be anything that makes you feel good. So for me, I know
Yeah.
a lot of people are saying, oh, your shower time should not be your self care time. But for me, it is because I mean, it's only 10 minutes. It's quick. I can do a 6-minute shower if I even have to. But
Hmm.
it's my form of self care because when the me going into the shower and the me coming out of it, completely different. I am a much happier human being.
Yeah, because here's the bottom line: when you make self care a priority, you actually do become a better mom. You have more patience. You have more energy. You have more emotional bandwidth to handle the ups and downs. Definitely more like patience for sure.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
teaching your kids the value of self love and setting an example for them
Mm.
about the importance of taking care of themselves and not just always giving, 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 and like being completely drained.
Yeah, that's so important. So let's talk about some practical ways that we can incorporate self care into our busy lives. Now, you don't need like hours to yourself or just, a day at the spa spending a ton of money. We're just talking about just small changes that can make a big difference. So, for me, the first thing that I try to do is I try to start the day on a positive note with intention or whatever it is. I Every morning I carve out 30 to 45 minutes of time just for me. And that's getting my cup of coffee, brushing my teeth, washing my face, and kind of setting up the whole day, which means emptying out the dishwasher and cleaning out the bottles from last night. And that kind of helps me set my intention for the day, gets me my brain where I need it to go. And it's super small, it's 30 minutes. 45 minutes, not even an hour, but it really helps me to take a minute and say, okay, here we go. I'm ready for this.
Yeah. Like my big self care right now, especially being pregnant, I sleep with the baby still. I find ways to, um, like, well, my boys are in school when they're in school, and we put them in school, and I sleep with the baby. And so that's like literally a couple of hours every day that I get to just rest and relax, because really, for the most part, I don't have alone time during the day from the second I wake up. Like, I'm never alone. So
Yeah, true.
it's like not a thing for me. And I'm okay with that. I love
Well,
being
now
I
that you're
love being
pregnant, you're
around my kids.
literally never alone. You're literally never
Yeah,
alone because
that's
you're
true.
pregnant. Little one's
Exactly.
with you
Even
all
when
the time.
So, I mean, that whole thing, sleep with the baby, sleep when they sleep, do it if you can. it really is like really refreshing, and it makes a big difference. And like, I'm not that one that's going to get up before the kids get up. They get up way too early. I'm not waking up at like 4:30 in the morning just to have my own peace. That would not be self-care for me. That would be mentally detrimental.
Which is exactly what happens when you don't do self-care.
Yeah. So, but like for some people, that's their self-care and they love that. They love getting up early. And actually, to be honest, when I have had the chance to get up before the kids and have like half an hour where it's just quiet and I can just sit and drink my coffee and not be interrupted, and I can just go on Facebook or do whatever, or watch just something stupid on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it is like very refreshing. It's kind of nice, but if I was like doing that intentionally every day, I wouldn't be enjoying it.
So another thing that we can do is break your tasks up into smaller steps. So moms, we are juggling a million things at once, and it can feel really overwhelming. But instead of thinking like you have to do everything at once, I'm guilty of that. If you break your tasks down to smaller, more manageable steps and have that like checklist, like take off that one small little thing, it can feel so much more fulfilling and more manageable. You know, like if for me, cooking takes up most of my time because I cook from scratch. And so food prep takes forever. So for me, I like to do all my food prep at once, you know, before I had a kid. Now my daughter does not allow for that because she wants my attention 24/7. But now I'm realizing I could sneak away from maybe like 10 minutes. So I'm like, okay, what can I do in 10 minutes? Okay, chop a pepper. Okay, I chopped the pepper, threw it back in the fridge. We're good. At least I checked that off. Yeah, I have to make the rest of the salad for later, but at least that's done. I said, okay, I chopped a pepper. I'm good. I feel satisfied. So break into more bite-sized steps. And I think that helps me kind of balance out all the things I have to do in a day.
Yeah. You know what's really interesting? One time I was like, you know, I wonder how long all of these little things that I do throughout the day, like realistically take me, you know? I was wondering that, like how long, because I know in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, that sink is full of dishes, right? That's going to take me like 30 minutes to do those dishes. That's in my mind, right? Or I have like 2 loads of laundry that I need to fold and put away. So in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, that's going to be like an hour. And so I found myself like avoiding certain things because I was like, oh my God, I can't start that and not finish it or whatever. So I just would like avoid it or whatever. But like then I got this idea. I was like, I'm actually going to set a timer and actually see how long these tasks really take me. And you would be so shocked at how little time it actually does take to complete certain tasks that in our minds, like it's totally in our minds that it takes forever. And I mean, granted, it's very different on like if there's like if I'm folding laundry and my baby is playing in the basket as if it's a boat and throwing the clothes around and stuff like that, that takes a lot longer. But even still, to basically fold one basket of laundry was like 5 minutes.
Really?
Like, yes.
Because it's funny you mentioned it, but laundry is like the number one thing on my list that I hate doing because it's never done. So of course, you know, I do the same thing. I avoid it, but I'm going to give that a try. You
should time yourself, see how long it takes you, because what I found was pretty much everything that I was doing that with really was taking way less time than I actually thought it was going to take in my mind.
And don't do it with kids around.
Yeah, don't do it. Even if you do it with kids around, it still takes less time than you imagine. Like our minds are just the biggest liars to us.
I think deep inside it's because I'm just avoiding laundry. So it's telling me it's going to take me 3 hours when it's really like 15 minutes.
It really is like 15 minutes, fold the basket, put it away, done. It's crazy. But I mean, there's things that come up and it is crazy. So I did that one time and I was like, oh, that didn't take that long. And then to like load the dishwasher, I was like, oh, that took me like 5 minutes. And pretty much like everything was like 5 or 10 minutes, you know?
Mhm.
And I'm not a scrubber of dishes. I'm like, why do I have a dishwasher if I'm going to scrub the dishes? So like, I'm one of those that's like, let the dishwasher scrub it. I don't care if I have to run it twice. I will. My husband will stand there and like, he will spend like 30 minutes scrubbing every little piece of food off of the dish and then putting it in the dishwasher. I'm like, you're just wasting so much time. Don't do that. So it just depends on the kind of person that you are. But it really doesn't take that long.
Yeah,
As long as we think in our mind.
so taking it in bite size, it really helps. If you time yourself, or even on the flip side, like set a timer for 10 minutes, go do whatever you're setting yourself to do. And once that 10 minutes, 15 minutes is up, or even 2 minutes is up, move on. But at least you got something done, right?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, you will probably get more done than you thought you were going to get done. Even if you're just like, okay, I'm just going to like do chores for 15 minutes and like see what I get done. You'll get a lot done. It's kind of surprising.
I'm going to make that. I can see myself making it into a game and like timing myself and like racing, previous times I've had, or setting new time limits for myself. Like, oh,
yeah,
I'm in, like a video game.
Yeah, because I realized I used to do this thing where I would count when my boys were picking up the toys. And I realized like I was only basically counting to like 2 minutes and they were done, and I was like, wow, that was fast, And then I also lay with my 3-year-old to put him to sleep. Sometimes I'll count and I'm like, we're just going to count to 200 and then we can go play. But he falls asleep by 120.
Ooh.
That's really only like 2 minutes. But if you're just laying there, it feels like 20.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like 2.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Those are such good tips. I'm going to have to try that with my daughter today. Nap time, I'm going to count to 200. And then also with the counting skills.
And if I get close to 200, which I never have, I just stop counting.
They're counting backwards because they'll never know, right?
I'll start over. And you know what's interesting? That this is like a byproduct of that. I've been doing that with him since he was like 1, and he can count to 100, and he's 3.5.
Yeah.
It's like just because I've been doing it every day at nap time with him.
Yeah, number skills.
Yeah.
I love that.
Multitasking. That's what moms have to do, right? Teach the kid and put him to nap. There you go.
It's perfect. All right. What's another thing that we can do? Get moving, I guess. Like exercise.
Yeah. So, and it doesn't have to be, you don't have to like do this whole go to the gym and do like an hour's worth of workout class, or do like CrossFit and kill yourself. I don't think personally it has to be that intense. Like literally take your kid in the stroller and go on a walk around the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. Go on a walk around the block. That's what I do anyways. And I've been doing that since all of my kids were born. I just put them in the stroller and we go on a walk. It used to be daily. Now it's like it's definitely not as frequent now that I have as many, but every chance that you get, you can just put them in the stroller, take them on a walk. They love that. Or do little stretches and crunches and just little exercises on the floor. My 1-year-old loves doing my stretches and all this stuff with me. Like she thinks she's doing it with me. And so it doesn't really have to be this huge thing, but getting your body moving and stretching and like just the little things can make a big difference.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is that you're constantly moving, right? You're constantly moving because you have a little one and you're carrying them and you're lifting and you're moving things around. But when you move with intention, that's, that feels like it's more for you, whether it's a walk or stretching or even like yoga or anything like that, or lifting a 10-pound weight that isn't your infant. It feels good because you feel like, okay, this is for me and not to put my child somewhere.
Yeah. And if you like going to the gym and that's kind of like your self-care moment away where you get to just do mommy time, like that's cool too. I have friends that do that. They love going to CrossFit and going to classes. I'm not a class person because I get bored after like 30 minutes. I'm like, okay, I'm done with this. But my friends love it.
I miss that. And so that's something I struggled with because I was one of those, those intense workouts, an hour at the gym because, I had nothing else to do. Sometimes even twice a day, go to the gym for an hour in the morning and at night type of thing with my husband. And so the transition to being a mom and not having that allotted time for me was really hard. And just reminding myself that, okay, even being a good houseplant, taking a walk is considered exercise, or doing 5 minutes of something is better than nothing because it's for you. But if you have the ability and the time to go to your sweat sessions, I'm jealous. Do it.
Yeah. Do it.
One day I'll be able to again, but right now it's small bite sizes for me.
Yeah, as the kids get older, it definitely gets easier to escape and get away for an hour at a time. It's a lot harder when they're little.
Yeah. It's hard to say no. I mean, and that's another thing that we have to keep in mind is a form of self-care is saying no without the guilt, because we want to please everyone out there. We want everyone to be happy. But when you overcommit, it can lead to massive burnout. You don't have to take on everything that comes your way. That's hard for me because I want everyone to be happy and I want to be that super mom who can do everything, and I can't.
Yeah. And you have to remember that if you're saying yes to something, and that's saying no to something else, there is a trade-off. And so you just have to really think about, okay, if I say yes to doing this, is that going to take away from my kids? That's what I always think. Like, is this going to benefit them or take away from them, And you got to like keep that in mind, that if you're saying yes to everything that is outside of that, and it is actually taking away from, in my opinion, my end game, my goal in life, which is my family.
Yeah. I never thought of it that way. That's a really good point, because if you're doing something, you're not doing something else. So you're actually saying no to something else, and there's guilt. That's terrible.
Yes. So you can say no and not have guilt, or you can be doing something, have all this guilt because you're away from your kids or something, and it's like a trade-off.
Yeah. I'm going to try to embrace that no without the guilt now, because I'm, like you said, I am still saying no, but with guilt. That's terrible.
Yeah.
I am reframing
Yeah, don't
my
do that.
mind.
Yeah, and I still am very guilty of doing this where, there's my big thing is like, people always want to come over and visit me, which I love, right? But it's like, there's only certain times during the day where it's like convenient for me, and like older people always want to come in the afternoon during nap time. It's like, and a lot of the times I will actually say no to my nap, or my rest period to visit with them, feeling guilty if I say no, or say like, no, I do that. And then I look back on the situation and I'm like, why did I do that? Here I am, like, now I am tired. And yes, I got to visit. I enjoy that aspect of it, but it's like, it was a trade-off. Now I'm like exhausted and I have to go all the way until bedtime before I get to rest,
or later. Or later.
Oh, definitely later. Yeah. I'm the last one to bed in my house, obviously.
Me too. I'm the last one to bed and the first one to get up. Always.
Yes.
Except for maybe the baby. Maybe the baby gets up before me, but then she wakes me up. So I'm right there with her.
Yeah.
So, and creating your own me time. So we often think of self-care as a luxury, but again, it doesn't need to be. You don't need to book a huge vacation getaway or a day at the spa. I mean, you can, and that's wonderful. That's great. But that can't be a daily thing. Unless you can make it a daily thing, then good for you. but for me, it's not. So, it, this is again hard for me is taking out some time in my day. So my husband had to help me with this on the weekend, on Saturdays and Sundays. He has daddy daughter time, which is 3 hours for him to hang out with her on Saturday and 3 hours on Sunday that they just hang out and I go do my own thing. And that's my me time. So that helps me. And also in the beginning of the day, when I set my day up, I do that 30 to 45 minutes of me time. But it's not always easy to do. How do you do it, Tess, with four, soon to be five kids?
Well, what I love, first off, what I love about what you do, which is smart, and I've tried to do this with my husband too, but he's so busy because we have a business and he works 24/7, but like at home. So it's like he's always working, but he's also like never working. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
it's a weird,
it's a hard balance. Yeah. But what I love about what you guys do is that when you carve it out every week and you're like, these are my 3 hours, you can actually pre-plan things. You can schedule a hair appointment 5 weeks out, you know, where I have a hard time doing that. I have to make sure that I have childcare before I can even schedule the hair appointment, you know, but like, consistently. And I love that. So actually something that we just recently did, so we homeschool. I don't know if I've ever talked about that before, but we homeschool, but I don't pretend like I'm some superwoman, and we actually hire teachers for our children. And so we only had a morning teacher, 2 hours in the morning. And so recently, in order for me to be able to rest with the baby, we hired an afternoon teacher who comes and she's with the boys for 2 to 3 hours in the afternoon. Oh, wow. And so in the morning with their teacher, they do all of their like essentials. And then in the afternoon, they get to do all their crafts and their fun, their supplements and their like extracurricular type stuff. And it is a huge game changer. Like I just am so happy for that. But you know, instead of actually doing stuff, I'm sleeping right now because that's all I can do. But it will be nice in the future when I can actually start scheduling like appointments or go grocery shopping or do stuff like that.
I think I texted you yesterday that I went and to the grocery store by myself without a child or a husband. I felt like I was doing something so like naughty, like I was getting away with something, and I'm not. I'm doing grocery shopping. It's a chore.
I know,
but I felt
you probably
so giddy.
Spent so much more money than you, because you like went down every aisle and looked at every little thing, took your sweet time.
I'm like, oh, I never noticed that before. What is it? I don't know. Let's just get it.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I went at a time that they do samples, and that's never happened before. I forget that supermarkets do samples on the weekends.
Oh, yeah.
So I went and I actually ended up eating. I'm like, oh, what's that? I'll try that.
Oh, I never go grocery shopping on the weekends anymore. That's not, oh my gosh, I forgot they do samples too. That's awesome. You can go and have lunch too at the same time, lunch and shopping.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever I try to do like the long, like we've done a spa day, us together. And whenever I do like long days, or I'll go down to the major city. We don't live in the city. So I'll go to the major city for a day, you know, and it's so funny because all I do is miss my babies the entire time. So it's like when I'm away for a long time, it's almost like too long. I don't want to do that too often. I would prefer the short little bursts, you know, of where I'm away, but then I'm right back, you know, and I missed them, they missed me, and we're all good.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's also that rebound because you've been away from them the whole day. They've been away from you the whole day. And now they're like, mama, and they have to have like more intense time with you. That happens to me.
Yes, I know. I'm like, it's kind of like whenever they see my parents, they're like so excited. And I'm just like, oh, like, that's not fair. I need to leave you more often so you appreciate me.
Exactly. Yeah. So, a little thing that I finally started embracing were audiobooks. So I've been listening to books on tape or on Audible, and it could be for like 15, 20 minutes. but I feel so good because it's for me, it's a book that doesn't rhyme. It's something that is adult content that is for a grown up and not for a child. But even if it's
Hmm.
just 15 minutes of listening to a book or even like a podcast, it makes me feel like, okay, I've taken care of me. And that's a good feeling. Instead of sitting down and reading like the whole Tolkien series or something like that, J.R.R. Tolkien, and spending days reading it, I just take out 15 minutes and I can do it in the dark because it's it's an audio, so there's no book light or anything like that, and she doesn't wake up. And that's a nice feeling.
Yes. Yes, I love that. See, I'm a little well, not as I'm more naughty, I guess you could say, but like it's going, I don't know. But my mommy guilty pleasure is like trash reality television. Like I love that.
Yeah.
But I am never gonna watch that around my kids, right? Like I don't turn the TV on. The TV is not on during the day ever unless I'm using it as a tool to like get a break.
Mm-hmm.
But so at night, and I stay up later than I probably should because at night sometimes I will lay down and watch just some trashy like reality show.
But
for like 10 minutes until I pass out. It's only like 10 minutes. It's not even that long.
But you feel good. You know, it's something that's silly and completely irreverent to what you do every single day, and it's for you.
Yeah. It's kind of like me living vicariously through these people where it's like, yeah, that's definitely not my life. I actually don't want it to be my life. Really, like, but I do like to be like a voyeur and just watch it and be like, okay, this is just silly. Okay, time to go to sleep.
So another important thing when it comes to self-care is making sure that you have a supportive system. You know, self-care, you obviously need the people around you to help you do that. So
Yeah.
if you have a support system, lean into it. It can be your partner, family, friends, hiring like you, Tess, hiring teachers or sitters to help you out. Hire the teenager to watch your kid, you know, someone trusted, and let them go play. So
Yeah.
I know it can feel really overwhelming, but there are ways that you can do that. And if you don't have that support, you can build one. You know, join a mom group or message us here on Pearls of Motherhood.
Yeah.
We are your community.
Yeah, listen to our podcast.
Message us or email us on Instagram or email us. We're here for you. We totally get it, and we are planning on creating, you know, chats for
we're
moms.
gonna have a whole tribe. We're gonna have retreats and hopefully conventions one day that you guys can be a part of. And that's the greatest part, is like it's a support system of moms who get it. We know what you're going through.
Yep.
And that's the most important. You got to be with somebody who's empathetic to your situation.
Yeah. And if you are with someone or you're surrounding yourself with people who are not empathetic and supporting you, get them out of your life. You don't need them.
Yeah. Yeah. So, mommy groups are good too. I feel like, I don't know, honestly, I've almost made more friends since becoming a mom than I did like before. You know, I'm very selective on who I am friends with.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, like I don't need a million friends, but I want like good ones, you know?
Yeah.
And so, but ever since becoming a mom, it's like, I just have so much more in common with more women, you know, because we're all moms.
Mm-hmm.
So before, I didn't have that much there. I was like a wannabe entrepreneur, like growing businesses and building businesses and doing stuff like that, like career-based, I guess. It was harder to make friends that way. But I think like if you kind of know your mom style and you know the kind of friends that you want, and you can go to mommy groups and find supportive friends. I think it's actually a little easier. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm selective. So I'm a social butterfly. I'll talk to anyone and everyone, but who I let into my life, I am very selective about. Really, truly
Mhm.
let into my life and really get to know me or get to know my kid. I am picky about that, but I do agree with you that it is easier to, since becoming a mom, because you have that, it's that unstated understanding. When you see another mom going through something, you totally get it. Or you can just randomly say something, or you're, and they get what you're saying. Or if you're at a play date or a play group thing and your kid just licks something and you're like, oh gosh, they get it too, because guess what? Their kid probably licked it right before yours did. So
I'll
I
tell
do
you, the
agree.
ultimate form of like entertainment is going to mommy groups. You're going to see all of these different mom styles, like the way that they all parent differently and all the dynamics between the kids. It's like Animal Kingdom, you know, and you see like the 2 1-year-olds and they're eyeballing each other over the little car, and it's like,
Mhm.
which one's going to win? What's going to happen
Yeah,
next? Like, and then and then something happens, and then it's like, oh, what's going to happen now? What's that one going to do? It's like, it's hilarious.
it is. It is. It's like the safari, only in little people form.
Yeah, it's like you don't need Animal Planet on Netflix. You got it in real life.
But if you want to watch Animal Planet on Netflix as your you time, you do it.
You know, I would watch that more, except I don't want to see all the animals being mauled to death like every 5 seconds. I don't understand. Yes, I understand that's the circle of life, okay? But I also don't have to see it, okay? I just know I don't have to see it. Can you just show me the nice parts? Like, what is this? Like, so gruesome.
Well, there's something out there for everyone, right? I mean, if
Like,
that's your thing,
look
good
at
for
this
you.
cute little giraffe. Isn't it so cute? And it's playing with its mother. Oh no, here comes a lion. Oh, it's eating the giraffe's face. Like, what? So mean.
I'm with you there. I prefer, the happy, fuzzy, fluffy bunny making friends with the tortoise type of thing. That's my thing. And they make friends with a duck along the way. Okay. And everyone
Show me
gets
the
along.
butterflies migrating. Yeah.
Oh, so,
Anyways.
is there anything else that we should add about self care?
I just think like I think I've said before, anything that gives you peace of mind, it really doesn't matter what it is. First off, don't even feel judged. Like whatever it is for you, that's what it is. Whatever you makes you feel good, it doesn't have to be what everybody else is doing. It doesn't have to be what your best friend does. It like whatever it is, as long as you get peace of mind from it and you get your tank refilled and then you feel like what's most important, because in reality, perception is reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like however we're perceiving anything in life, everybody, that is our reality, whether it's real or not. But like if you are perceiving that, okay, well, I am doing this for myself and I feel better, I have peace of mind, and I'm a better mother because of it, you will be a better mother. So that's the most important thing at the end of the day.
I think you've addressed this in past episodes that your form of self care is sometimes hiring help.
Mm-hmm.
That helps you bring peace of mind, knowing that you're not, doing things that you don't want to intentionally be doing, and instead
Yeah.
reallocating your time in a way that where you do want to do things that you want to do, like taking care of your kids or something like that.
Yeah,
I think.
exactly. Yeah, like in the summers especially, we're never home. We're not home to do laundry or housework or picking up, we're just not, we're at the park. We're out in the sun. We're constantly outside.
Mhm.
And in the winter it's a little different because we are home and we're in the house, so it's a little different. But like, yeah, in the summer, I don't bother myself with just the light housework. I have somebody else do that. And we leave the house They come take care of it. We come home and it's beautiful. And I have peace of mind. That's the most important part. Yep. I get to come home to a clean house.
Yeah. And it can be as simple as like ordering takeout or something like that. That takes that off your plate that night, that you can have more time for you or for your kids or for your family. That's great. It doesn't have to be something big. Although I do agree with you. It brings me peace of mind knowing that something was checked off, but I didn't have to necessarily do it. And oftentimes that is like ordering out pizza or Chinese food or whatever it is.
Yeah, this is a thing that I actually struggle with sometimes, where I'm like, I should be making like all of these organic homemade bread, homemade this, homemade that. And then I swear to you, every time I try to actually, like, I go and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this like homemade recipe. And obviously that takes more time than just like pouring a package from Trader Joe's, which isn't as healthy, but it takes more time and it's healthier and stuff. But here's what I found is, like, when I'm doing that in that process, like you say, if I don't do it in increments like you do, cutting the pepper and then coming back and doing that, if I'm not doing it like that, which is not my style, I can't cook like that. I have to do it all at once. Mm-hmm. What is happening is, like, my kids are feeling neglected because they're acting out, and that's what they do. And there is a way that I could probably include them, but I'm too OCD for that. I can't include them in cooking. There's no way. They're too messy.
And there's too many of them. When you're in the kitchen, there's a lot of dangerous things, and there's so many.
Yeah, so many. And so young. So what I have found is, like, whenever I'm doing something like that, it's taking away from, like, my time with them. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm cooking them like this homemade, very healthy meal. But it's taking my time away from them. And then they don't even hardly eat it at the end of the day. Like, kids don't eat hardly anything, right? Mm-hmm. And so it is like finding that balance. Okay, well, it is a lot quick. I could just pour a Trader Joe's meal, cook it up in like 10 minutes. They love it. Then we're all together. We're eating together. Mm-hmm. And it's just like a different experience.
It is.
And so
I love Trader Joe's.
Don't feel guilty if you're not like making sourdough.
No.
I know a lot of people that do. And that's cool. Great. If you can do that.
Because that's their version of self-care.
Yeah.
Great.
Yes.
It's another thing. So I do a lot of the cooking. I do making from scratch, although not everything. Sourdough, I do not. I buy that. Because I do a lot of more swearing when I make sourdough, and that's not something I want my daughter to pick up on. But when I go to the store, I do buy pre-chopped vegetables, because sometimes that's just easier. Or like instead of, if I'm making like a julienne something that really takes a lot of knife skill, and I don't have the time for that, I'll buy it pre-cut. Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit more, but in the long run, it helps me make a healthy meal for my family. Again, that brings me peace of mind that I did something okay.
Yep. Yeah. So whatever it is for you, like, you don't have to be anyone else.
No.
Period.
No, you do you. It doesn't have to be complicated. It's about finding, the moments, even small ones, that take care of your mental health, your emotional health, and your physical well-being. So you just do you. And some days are going to be easier and some days are not. And that's okay. It's a journey, and every stage is going to have different versions of how you're going to care for yourself. That's kind of exciting.
Yeah. So just always remember, you're a beautiful, capable, and strong mother, and you are worthy of love, care, and attention, starting with yourself.
Yeah.
So go ahead, make time for yourself. You deserve it.
Yeah. And it's okay if you're a work in progress, because guess what? We are too. Welcome to the club. Thank you so much for listening to us at Pearls of Motherhood. Please feel free to contact us at pearlsofmotherhood.com and to email us at ideas@pearlsofmotherhood.com. We're also on Instagram at Pomcast. That's POMCASTS. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this episode or any ideas for future episodes. After all, we are a podcast for all moms and would love to know what you'd like to explore. New episodes will drop once a week on Friday, so stay tuned for more fun and more pearls. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.
Bye.